Alright, in this video we'll see how to create a task manager plugin in WordPress. Now this is a plugin, you need to activate it to make this work. The very first thing is it will allow you to insert the task with this form, and once you click on add task, that task can be visible on the all task page, and if you wish to delete you can delete it. And the main goal of this is to display our task on the dashboard, so that is also possible. The added task can be viewed on this dashboard. You can see this is the widget that we see on the dashboard once we log in. So what really happens is once you click on this, once you get into this form, let me just create the task name as Learn Stack assigned to Vishal, and the priority is set to medium, and learn. If you click on add task, you will see a notice saying that task added successfully, and these data gets stored into a custom table. So this is the custom table called wp underscore crm underscore task, and you should see the Learn Stack Vishal priority. This got added just now, and these data can be fetched and displayed on the all task page, which is the WordPress default table. You can see this. We are making use of the WordPress table, which can be modified with the class called a list page, wp-lift-page, and with the help of hook wp-dashboard-setup, we'll be able to display the data that will be fetching it from this table and displaying it over here. So we are going to see how to create a custom table. This is a table which we are going to create, and then we will be seeing how to create menus and submenu. So this is called menu, and these all tasks is called submenu. We'll see how to create this, and then we have a form page. If you see, this is a form page that we are going to create, and next we have the widget. So on the index page of the dashboard, this is the widget we are going to create, and finally a WordPress default table, we'll be listing it. And if you wish to delete this, you can delete this and it will be deleted. The task will be deleted. Now you can see we just have 3 tasks, and in the dashboard also you should see only 3 tasks because we have deleted 1 task. So again, it's just a little add-on from the previous plugin. Previously we just stopped there from modifying the content on the table. Now we have added a delete button. So that's the difference between previous video and this video. And let's start. So the very first thing that we need to do is we need to create a plugin folder on the WordPress folder. This is the WordPress folder which we have installed it, and inside WP content, inside plugins, we need to create a new file. So we can call it as task. Now I'm going to open this in the Visual Studio Code, open folder, and over here let's just simply directly open the plugin folder, and you will see 2 folders. So since it's task, we just have to give the PHP file as of the same name with your folder name, and then we want to show our plugin on this page. So let me deactivate this so that we don't get any error. Now we need to show our plugin over here. So for that we need to configure the comment. Cool, we can make this task manager. If you refresh this, you should see the plugin. MANE is the spelling. Now if we access our plugin file, saying that it's inside WP content, then we have task, then we have task.php. it is directly accessible. If you write something hello saying that, it will be accessible with this URL. So to stop that, we have a special function in WordPress, special keyword, it is absolute. If someone accesses it with the absolute URL, then simply exit it. And now once I activate this plugin, I want to initialize a table. So let's do that. So the function that is going to be register activation hook. So when this plugin gets activated, I want a function to get executed. So this function will have the definition of the columns and the table name and the prefixes. So we have already seen in detail about this, so I'm just going to be little fast in this video, so we don't have to repeat it again and again on every video. We'll be using WordPress global object, which is WPDB, and we'll be using the WP prefix to we'll be getting the WP prefix with this WordPress object, and the table can be task, and WP hyphen task will be the table name, and this is the character set. Either it's UTF-8 or it is going to be UTF-8 MB4. Now we'll use the SQL code for creating the table. Now this is simple, straightforward. These are the column names: ID, task name, assigned to, priority, note, and creator at. We're defining ID as the primary key, and now we need to execute the code. So to execute the custom tables code, WordPress has a function called delta-db. So if it is inbuilt table, we would be using WP query. If it is custom made table, we would be using delta-db. So to call delta-db, we need to first locate where the delta-db would be, and then our function. So the delta-db is located in the WP admin, includes upgrade.php, and this is the function. Once you activate this plugin, you should see a table. Our plugin is already activated. Now if I click on saying that in this database, you should see a table called WP-task. It's not there yet. Let's just activate it. Once you activate it, then only the register activation hook would work, and once the register activation hook works, the delta-db query would get executed, and you should see the task table. Yeah, it's there. You can see task, WP task, and these are the columns which we have defined. Now what we need to do is we need to create a menu, and let's just start with menu first. So we'll be using the hook called WP menu. So once this hook get activated, called, this function would get executed, and now we need to define a page. So to define a page, it's very simple. We need to give the page title, the menu title. Let's just be task, and we need to mention the capability that we are going to give. It's the manage option capability. It's the keyword that we have to pass, and this is the slug which you see in the URL, and this is the relevant function that would get executed. Now let's just define this, and let's see the task. You can see the task has shown up. So once in this function, we need to define the HTML. Let's just do that. So it's a text box for task name, a text box for assigned to, and a select field for the priority, and again the text area for entering the notes. So this is enough just to see the form on the task page. Now when I click on add task, the relevant submit button would check whether all the values are filled. If the values are filled, it would be stored into the relevant variable name. Let's just do that. Now on submit, we have used the post PHP global variable, and checking if the variable submit button's name attribute is set, then we'll store the input field to the relevant variable name. And now we'll be using the global WordPress object to insert these value into the database. Again, we will be using the insert query from the WP object. So the table name is passed over here, and these are the relevant column names over here, and these are the input field value which we have stored in the above line. And now if everything goes well, you should see the success message. Let's just say WordPress plugin and assigned to Vishal, and the priority is going to be medium, and let's say learn WP plugin. You can give anything. If you click on add task, you should see task added successfully, and on submit you should see a data that gets inserted with the help of the db global variable. So you can see the data got inserted. Now what we need to do is we need to let's just start with, let's display our value on the dashboard first, and then we'll create a submenu. So to display the value in the dashboard, it's very straightforward. We'll be using a hook called wp-dashboard-setup, and now we need to call wp-function wp-add-dashboard-widget function. So this is the unique ID that you need to pass, and this is going to be the widget name, and this is a relevant function that would get executed. So here in this function we'll simply use the fetch operation, and we'll simply use this WordPress object to fetch the values with the help of query. Select all from the table name, order by the created date, and display in the descending order, and limit the value to 5. So only top 5 will be shown. Now we need to check if this result exists or not. So if the result exists, then we'll use the table to display. So if the result exists, then use the for each loop to display individual row data ID, task name, assigned to, and priority, and that's it. Now if you see on the dashboard, you should see the entered data. Yes, and let's just try inserting one more thing, which is, let's say, learn UI UX, assigned to UI monk, and priority is medium, and learn Figma prototyping. Let's click on add task, and on the dashboard you should see inserted data. Now we'll create a submenu on the task page. So where your admin menu hook is attached, you need to create one more function, which is add submenu. Here again it's going to be very similar to what we have written earlier. The page name, sorry, this is the slug that you need to give, then the page name, then everything is similar. The page name, the title of the page, and the option that we need to give, it's the capability, and then we have our slug, and then we have our relevant function that would get executed. So before executing this function, so we need to create a what's wrong in, I think maybe the spelling. Yes, we need to create a class. Let's create a class and extend the wp-list-page class. So I have created a class, and it is extend wp-list-table. Now we need to override this. Inside we have three things. The first one, basically what table would have a header, and the table would have the data from the database, and what else. So these are the two variables. So to fill these values, this table gives a property, and we'll be overriding this property on this class and use it. So the first function that we are going to override is prepare item. So in the prepare item, we will use the global WordPress object to display the values in the data, to get the values and display it on the table. So let's just do that. So we need to use the query. So this will have the query, select all from, similar to what we have previously. It was get results, and now we are again sending using the get results, and in this case we want the value to be in associative array. So here we can provide associative array, here we can provide a numeric array, and here we can provide object. So I need the data to be in the form of associative array. Now we need to define the column and column names, and one more thing, which is the data to be displayed. So this class again gives you a function called get column. So that get column will display all the column name from this database. So we need to define this. Let's just define outside of class. So we are defining the class. We need to override inside the class, not outside. So this we'll be getting it from this wp-list-table. Now this, on the left side you will see the table name, tables column name, and these are our defined column name that is going to get displayed on the dashboard. And notice this action, we are purposely making it. Here there is nothing, no column called action, but we are making it so that we can have a delete button. Now since we have defined the column, now what we need to do is we need to display the header. For this it will give you a protected variable called column header, and now we have passed column, and this is for do we need some column to be hidden? I said no. Do you want this column to be sortable? I said no. So that's why I'm passing the empty array. And now the fetch the value. Let's use this data and display again the similar protected variable. We'll have the protected variable again, which is item, and we are passing the data to it. And now there is one more function called column defaults, which will allow us to modify the data that we would be getting. And in this case we are modifying the table and adding our custom column, which is action. Now we need to use that column default to modify our data, and so this is going to be simple CRUD operation in PHP. You might have understood. Now this item is nothing but your row, and this is the column name. So we are checking if it is ID, if it is task name, if it is assigned to, if it is priority, if it is note, if it is created at. These are simply just the column name. If these are the default column name, then fetch the row and display the column name. So this is actually row and this is actually column name. In this place you will get the data. We have asked the associative array, and these are stored in the form of associative array, and associative array data and the column name would be displayed. Now in this case, in any case, if there is an action column name, then what we need to do is create an anchor tag and just pass the ID with the data called delete. So we can access the URL with the help of get PHP variable, and once you click on it you will see the, so over here just above the class name, sorry, inside the prepare item, what we need to do is we need to define so simply we'll create a object and we'll call the prepare item and call the display, so that we can able to see the this table is not found. So yes, it's saying it could not find it because we need to specify the location where it's defined. So we are checking if the class exists. Then if the class does not exist, then add just only once, get into the WP admin, get into the include, get into this class and just call it, and you should see the table in action, and all task would have those two. Let's just add one more task and try to delete it. One, priority high, learn React.js, click on add task. Let's just see in the dashboard, we should see 3, learn 1 is also added. This is displaying in the descending order. And if you click on all task, let's just delete WordPress plugin, click on delete. Once you click on delete, you should see this delete equal to 1, and the 1 would be accessed by the get super global, and we'll be using the delete query, and we'll be getting the display of the task deleted, and yes, the task got deleted. And let's just see on the dashboard, we should see only 2, the WordPress plugin should get deleted. So again, if you wish to delete one more task, let's just delete UI UX and get into the dashboard, and that task would get deleted. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for listening.